Welcome, I'm Ashley, the engineer at Andover Norton, and this Gus Kuhn Racer was actually a bike that I went and collected from a customer because he wanted it serviced and a minor overhaul prior to selling it. However, when I saw it I realised there were some things on this bike that weren't quite right when it came to being a roadster. Straight away, the ventilated rear brake plate, the front hub, the key switch for the ignition were all items that you'd expect to find on an original production racer. When I got back to Andover Norton, I let Joe know that I've just been to collect this bike and something about it doesn't add up. We checked the numbers for the engine and the frame and found that it was actually delivered to Kuhn's in May 1970 as parts that were labelled as a production racer. Now, Joe's intention at the time was to put it back to yellow, whereas I said that I think this would be a bad idea. I said because it's never actually campaigned or been used as a production racer, only a Kuhn racer. So May 1970, the bikes, there was two bikes delivered, and the first bike is production racer number 1, was sent down to Thruxton, tested by a young Barry Sheen at the time. However, our bike is production racer number 2. After discussing with the owner that he was going to sell it, then we agreed a figure and bought it ourselves, which then led to me having to go back and collect the rest of the parts for this bike. When I got there, the parts that go with it were actually in white, which I queried, and the owner said the reason they're in white is because bike number 1 and bike number 2, the bike we have, were sent down to Barcelona in 1970 for the 24-hour race, and they had to race in shell colours. So I actually rubbed part of the white paint off the tank only to find the metal-flake green Gus Kuhn racing colour. The two bikes that went down there are this one and bike number 1. Now, we know who the 4 riders were, and one of those was Barry Sheen, but we don't know which of the 4 riders rode what bikes. However, both bikes did not finish, even though one was leading for some of the race until it eventually suffered failures. The bike was then used in the UK campaigning at production class events by Ron Whittock and Dave Potter, and the owner used to use the bike in between for Gus Kuhn's lower level race events. So the history of this and the provenance we have. We've also had it backed up by Valerie Davey, who still has some of the books with the entries in that they produced regarding these two bikes. We are slowly getting this bike back to the original racing colours, and hopefully we intend to use it like this on the road and hopefully braid it in the future. That concludes the Kuhn Racer, and if anyone's wondering where bike number 1 is, we know where bike number 1 is. It's actually in the USA. Thank you very much, and if you have any queries, please feel free to contact myself or Simon via telephone or email, and we'll try and answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.